In this video, I'm going to answer the top 10 questions that I get asked about hypnosis. This is questions from traders and entrepreneurs in the DMs or on calls, but just the most consistently asked questions. Because hypnosis is one of the most powerful tools that there is, but also one of the most misunderstood. And I know this because I've seen hundreds of traders, of entrepreneurs, break down the walls that they thought were impossible for them, at the same time as them being skeptic if it works. So let's just get to the questions for today. So going to the first question, and that is, what is hypnosis and how does it actually work? So the numbers say that around 95% of how you act, how you react, how you handle pressure even, is not something you've chosen consciously to do. It's automatic. It's an automatic pattern that is running you. You're not running it. It's running you. Okay? And this has been programmed throughout your life. And mostly this is around the ages 0 to 7 when we are living in a state called theta. And this is a state where you are highly suggestible to anything that someone says to you. So this programming that you've collected throughout the years of your life is what every thought passes through. This is a program, it's kind of like a filter. It's the way you look at things. Because if you and a friend, you get the same kind of information, you will react differently towards it if your belief system is different. If someone will say, oh yeah, this guy made $100,000 this month, and one of them believes that, yeah, that's super possible. I know more people that does that. And the other friend says, no, that's not possible. No one has ever done that. That's their belief system. So the reaction will be different. One will see it as a negative, it will see it as a joke, as something that's not even true, and the other one will see it as completely plausible. Okay, so it's a filtering system that you are operating from right now. You're living inside of it. That is how your reactions come. That is, your emotions are based on your belief system. And that is exactly what we try to reach when we do hypnosis. So hypnosis basically works by putting yourself in a super relaxed state, trying to access that theta brainwave state where you are highly suggestible to reprogram the way you think and reprogram what you believe. And here's another thing, is that you're in this state already each day without even realizing. When you're in the shower, you're not thinking about everything, you know, the perfect idea drops in. That is you being in a very relaxed state where you're much more suggestible, much more open. So hypnosis is really for us to just do that, but on purpose, and use it to change your mind. Question number 2, what's the difference between what I've seen on stage and what you actually do? And what I do has nothing to do with performing. You can think about stage hypnosis as using the same tool. You have a hammer, and one way to use a hammer is to crack a window, and the other one is to build a house. And what we're trying to do is reach what is not conscious, but what is sitting in that programming that we talked about, and change that. And with that, it changes your experience of life. That is why the real way of doing hypnosis is much more interesting than stage hypnosis. Hypnosis is a very documented practice. Both the American and the British Medical Association have talked about hypnosis being a tool that works. Mike Tyson, Tiger Woods, both of them used it for and throughout their whole professional careers. Going into question number 3, we have, does hypnosis create real change, or is it just placebo? Here's the interesting thing about that question, is that every belief is both real and fake at the same time. If you don't believe that this strategy is going to work for you, it most certainly won't. Because we experience life by what we believe, by what we believe to be true. So if you believe this strategy is going to work for you, that is the way you're going to experience life. And what we do with hypnosis is not to try to give or fix a strategy. It's about shifting the way you see the world and the way you see yourself, because that in itself will give you different experiences of life. So when people say it's just placebo, it kind of, proves the whole point. If what you believe shapes your experience, then the whole game is about changing what you believe on the deepest level. That's the whole thing. Being skeptical doesn't even block the process. The only thing that blocks it is deciding in advance that it's not going to work. But that will just not put you in the state, and that's a choice. It's not really a limitation. It doesn't prove that hypnosis doesn't work. It just proves that you're a dick and you don't want to do it, and that you don't want to allow yourself to believe that it's going to be possible for you. Okay, question number 4. Who does this actually work for? This isn't for someone that thinks that hypnosis is going to give them the golden strategy after they've been hopping around for 100 strategies. That's not the thing. We do not fix information problems with hypnosis, even if we wish we could. It's the emotional problems. It's the thing when you know what to do, but you can't seem to get yourself to it. You have boom and bust cycles. Everything is going in a loop. You're going well, and then boom, you crash. Going well, and boom, you crash. Or you're being successful, but you can't enjoy the journey. It's all emotional inner blocks. It's not the external. It's not the information. But most of the problems are internal. So most of the problems that you're experiencing could be used with hypnosis and fixed with hypnosis. And question number 5 that I got from some people before a session is, will I lose control and can I get stuck in it? This is the stage hypnosis fear all over again, and it doesn't apply here. You are in control the entire time. The state is focused, not unconscious. And you can come out whenever you want to. If you don't want to go deeper, you don't have to, even though that's where the real work happens. You can't get stuck on it. Think about when you're reading a book and you get so lost into the words you're reading, and then someone calls your name. That's the feeling of hypnosis. It's about just getting back into reality. That's how fast you can gain control over the situation again. All of the people I work with, or a lot of the people I work with, are highly performing, skeptical, analytical people. It does work for everyone as long as they are open for the experience. As long as they're open with their beliefs, as we talked about before, that they believe that this can maybe help them. That is all I'm asking. That is all the hypnotist asks of you. And Carl Jung said something amazing about these patterns that we talked about in this video, is that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. And until you start working on these deeper beliefs, these deeper mental blocks, your life is going to continue looping the same way it's been looping for so many years. So let's go to question number 6. I've tried meditation, affirmations, mindset work. Why is this different? So the most important thing to think about here is to divide it into the conscious and the unconscious. As we said before, the unconscious is the 95% or even more. We don't have the exact data on it. Maybe even more. That is controlling your life, your habits, your reactions, your pressure handling. All of that is driven by your unconscious mind. And when we're talking about affirmation or mindset work, we're working with the conscious mind, the logical mind. But the problems are not there. It's not the logical stuff, because if you had logic, you could have fixed it yourself already, right? But it's the emotional, it's the energetic problems that we're fixing with hypnosis. And if you want to just keep it simple, it's conscious versus unconscious. That's it. But the conscious mind cannot install a new belief, because the conscious mind is the only thing it's trying to do is to make you stay safe and to keep the identity, keep the person that you are. As soon as you go past that limit, that border, and you're trying to be someone new, you're gonna feel the resistance, and your whole life is just gonna be a drag and push loop with your own discipline. And you're gonna have so much problem with your discipline, your willpower, because there's a belief running in the background in the complete opposite way. The subconscious is where the actual pattern lives, and it has a filter, and its job is to reject anything that doesn't match what it already believes to be true. So your current way of seeing yourself is the actual protection mechanism. It is just trying to let you be you. And that's why it's so hard to consciously change, but it's so easy to use hypnosis for really fast changes. A change that can take 1 hour and then your whole life has changed. Like someone stopping smoking and then for 20 years never smokes a cigarette when they had been doing it for years and years daily. That is what happens when you install a new belief and that voice inside of your head changes, and it's now all of a sudden supporting you and supporting your mission. And this is where it's powerful in trading or in business. So hypnosis bypasses that filter by getting into that state. And in that state, that's where we can reprogram these beliefs. And once you reprogram those beliefs, that's a different voice inside of your head, and it's a different way of experiencing life. I had a client who had been trading since 2023, and she could name each and every loop, every problem, every self-sabotage. She knew it inside out, consciously. But she was still in it, because naming the problem, naming the block is not going to fix itself. You have to change the belief that it's causing the problem, the thing underneath in the subconscious mind that is causing the problems that you're experiencing. Okay, question number 7. How fast does it actually work? Most people assume that change has to be slow, but that belief in itself is a product of trying to change with the conscious mind, because conscious change is often very slow. You're thinking your way towards something and you're grinding against your own resistance, because as you experience that there's something in you right now, when you're trying to take a step forward, something is pulling you back. And it's really just about removing that resistance, because imagine it yourself, if you could go towards your goal without any resistance pushing you back, wouldn't it be easy? Yeah, it would. Because it would be effortless. It would be no resistance in between you and that goal. And that's the whole thing we're trying to achieve. So I'll give you a personal example of what can happen and how fast it can happen. So when I was a little bit younger, I used to smoke weed. All right, I'll just put it out there. I wasn't that much, but I would occasionally just do it. And one time I had this weed pen. And it was a legal one actually, because it was something in Sweden which was legal. Okay, and I was smoking that, and I had it in my room, and I had been starting to use hypnosis on myself, and I started seeing some results. But the biggest results I've ever had was the time that I smoked, and I was in my room, I was meditating, and I was having a really good time. And for those of you who smoked weed, you know that you would never stop doing it while you're on it, because it's really enjoyable, especially if you're having a good time. And the voice in my head said, go and break the pen. Get rid of it. And I was so surprised by this voice in my head. And I listened to it. And after that, I never, ever, ever smoked again. And that was because I started programming myself and hypnotizing myself to take care of my mind. And I realized subconsciously that this was taking away the power of my mind. So this is what the work actually does. It can completely shift those automatic patterns that you have. Okay, question number 8. I'm too analytical, too logical, can I even be hypnotized? I hear this a lot of time. And my client August actually said, he was like, I'm not even sure if this is gonna work for me. And I'm very open to it, but I'm not sure if this is going to work for me. And I said to him that, yeah, let's just do it. Let's just see how it works. And literally, first of all, he is one of the clients that sends me a message the same day and says that, oh, it has already shifted. One day later, he sends me another message. A week goes by and he says that he doesn't feel the resistance anymore. His problem was that he was always pushing himself and being really self-critical when he was creating content. And that made him not wanting to create content. It was a big resistance between him and doing that, and he knew that that was going to take his business to the next level. So he was actively sabotaging his own business growth by doing this. And he said that it was never there. And he did so many videos, he got viral on Instagram, and his business changed by him removing this internal belief, this internal resistance. Question number 9, we're getting to the end. Is it safe? Yes. It's a clinical practice. It has been documented for decades. It is safe. If you have any certain neurological conditions, obviously go talk to your doctor first and see if it's possible for you. But I have never heard anyone being able to damage a client because the client itself chooses what they want to accept. You are, as I said before, in control of the hypnosis experience. And one thing I would say though is that I wouldn't be hypnotized by anyone. I want my practitioner to want what is best from me, because as I said before, you're very suggestible when you are in a moment like this, and I like to really just surrender everything to the practitioner. I believe that they want my best. This is my problem, let's fix it together. And by that, I allow myself to trust them. So I would just say, if you're going to do it, trust the person that you're working with. Check what their other clients have done, what they have done, who they are as a person, if you actually feel connected to this person. Question 10. What actually happens in a session? So my sessions, this is not the same for all hypnotists, but my sessions always start with talking. And we try to find this specific block. We try to find and dig deep where the resistance, the mental block is actually sitting. And once we're there, we understand it, we see if it's real, if it's not, and then we work with the emotions, and then we start to install the new beliefs. So you can really just imagine that what we're trying to do is we're trying to find the right cable, and once we found the cable, we pull it out and we install a different one. That is basically the whole idea with hypnosis. And once you install the new cable, your way of operating is going to be different. Because the old one, the old pattern, the old program, the old reaction that you had is gone. We just threw it away, we put this in. That's the way we do it. And what the clients usually feel is that it could be like heaviness has been gone, or they could feel like they're suddenly drawn to something else, or that the old thing that used to bother them is just not bothering them anymore. So all of a sudden, it's just much more ease with whatever they're trying to do. Or it could be an urgency for traders, that they had a lot of urgency, and as long as you remove that, you install something else, now they can execute with calm. Because the urgency, that high emotional pressure, is completely gone. Here's what I want to leave you with. The reason why you're skeptical, the real reason why you are still thinking that this might not work for you, is because your belief system is trying to protect what you believe to be true. And now I am suggesting a new idea to you, and your conscious mind is trying to reject it. And that is exactly what hypnosis addresses. So if you are open enough to try this out, if you have a mental block in your business that you know is holding you back, or in your trading, or it could be going really, really well, but there are certain things that you're just not doing. You're a high performer, you're not going into the right rooms, you're not daring to scale even though you talked about it for 3 years. Those are also the same blocks on different levels. So if you want to take a look at that, you can book a call down below, and let's have a chat, see if we're a fit, and see if I can help you removing those blocks and getting into that next big leap of your business or in your trading. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video.